spiritual Manthan.
Can you imagine this? Before your birth, your soul made a profound decision. It wasn't a random chance, a roll of the cosmic dice. No, your soul looked at the vast map of existence, saw the upcoming challenges and opportunities, and carefully selected the environment that would be most conducive to your growth. It wasn't about avoiding pain or discomfort. It was about choosing the lessons that would propel you to the next level of your soul's evolution. And so, you were placed into the family you have now. Now I know what you might be thinking: why this family? Why does it feel like I'm living in a battlefield rather than a nurturing environment? Shouldn't a family be a place of love, protection, and comfort? I get it. I've been there. I'm sure many of you can relate to the feeling that your family dynamics are more destructive than supportive. And let's be real, it's tough to make sense of it when you're in the middle of that storm. But here's the truth that might challenge everything you've thought before. Being born into a toxic family is not a punishment. It's not some karmic retribution. It's actually one of the greatest gifts your soul could have asked for. I know, right? It doesn't feel that way now, but stick with me. This pain, this discomfort, it's a gift. A life-altering, transformative, soul-shifting gift. Trust me, by the time we're done here, you'll start to see it too. Toxic families are like fire. Picture this. Toxic families are like fire. Fire burns. It hurts. It scars. But fire also forges. It doesn't just destroy, it refines. It tempers metal, turning soft and brittle into something strong, unyielding, and sharp. That's exactly what the challenges in your family are doing to your soul. They're forging you, shaping you into something more resilient, more powerful, and more aware of your own strength. Think of steel. It starts off as raw and unrefined, but the more it's heated, the more pressure it's put under, the stronger and sharper it becomes. Your soul is the same way. The difficulties you've experienced in your family, whether it's emotional abuse, neglect, manipulation, or rejection, are those moments of fire. They're painful. They hurt like hell, no doubt. But they're also making you stronger, making you more aware of your own power. Now, let's be honest. It's hard to see that when you're in the middle of the chaos, right? In the middle of the fight, it doesn't feel like you're being tempered. It feels like you're drowning. But remember this, you weren't born into this family to drown. You were born into it to learn how to swim. You were born here to rise above the pain, not to succumb to it. And you will. It might take time, and it won't be easy, but eventually you will rise. Being a chosen one is not about living a typical, comfortable life. It's about transcending, about breaking free from cycles, and stepping into the fullness of who you're meant to be. And sometimes, to transcend, you have to face the toughest obstacles. You have to go through the fire to come out the other side stronger, clearer, and more aware of your true potential. It's not random, it's generational. The toxicity you were born into wasn't just an accident. It wasn't random, it's generational. Your family's dysfunction is the result of years, perhaps even centuries of unresolved wounds, unspoken truths, and patterns of behavior that have been passed down from generation to generation like a cursed heirloom. The dysfunction you face today didn't start with you. It started long before your birth, carried forward by people who, just like you, were doing the best they could with the tools they had. But here's the key point. You were born into this lineage to stop it. You were chosen for this. You are the one your soul picked to break the cycle. Think about that for a moment. Let it sink in. Your soul didn't come here to be another cog in the wheel, to repeat the same painful patterns. It came here to break those patterns, to heal the past, and to shift the course of the future. That's a huge responsibility. That's a monumental task. But you're up for it. You have the strength, the wisdom, and the awareness needed to do it. The toxic behaviors you were raised with, whether it's toxic love, toxic patterns of communication, or toxic beliefs about money, relationships, or self-worth have been passed down for generations, but your soul was destined to bring healing to that. You weren't born to fit in with the dysfunction. You were born to rise above it, to heal it, and to transform it, not just for yourself, but for every person in your family line, both past and future. The trauma, the pain, the unhealed wounds from your ancestors, these are not yours to carry forever. You are the key to breaking free from them. Your soul chose you because it knew you were capable of healing, not just yourself, but also the generations that came before you and those who will come after. It's an incredible responsibility, but you've been equipped for this. Families as mirrors. When you look at your family, what do you see? Is it anger, manipulation, control, toxic love? What emotions bubble up inside you when you think about the way your family has treated you? Now, here's the deeper question. Where do you see that same energy within yourself? I know that's not an easy question to answer, but it's one that will unlock the key to your healing. You see, toxic families don't just wound us, they mirror us. They reflect back to us the parts of ourselves that we're too afraid to look at. The anger they show you may be the anger you've suppressed in your own heart. The rejection you've faced may mirror the rejection you've internalized. The control they've exerted over you might be a reflection of the control you've allowed others, or even yourself, to have over your own life. This is where the gift comes in. In the fire of dysfunction, you're given an incredible opportunity. The chance to see yourself more clearly than ever before. The toxic behavior you're facing isn't just a reflection of your family. It's a reflection of your own hidden fears, limitations, and unresolved pain. When you face these mirrors, you have the opportunity to heal, to shift, and to transform. But only if you're willing to look. This is why toxic families are such powerful training grounds. They don't just wound you, they offer you a mirror, a chance to see the hidden, unhealed parts of yourself that you need to confront in order to grow. And yes, it's uncomfortable, it's painful, but in that pain lies the path to your healing. In facing your family's dysfunction, you are also facing your own. Stop fighting, start learning. Here's a profound shift that could change everything for you. What if you stopped fighting your family? What if, instead of seeing them as your enemy, you saw them as your greatest teachers? What if their toxic behavior wasn't a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their own pain and wounds? What if their inability to love you was a sign that they didn't know how to love themselves? This is a game changer. When you stop fighting your family and start seeing them through the lens of compassion, you unlock the gift within their toxicity. They're not here to hurt you. They're here to teach you. They're here to show you where you need to heal, where you need to grow, and where you need to release the past. The moment you stop asking, "Why are they hurting me?" and start asking, "What are they teaching me?" that's when the real transformation begins. The pain, the anger, the resentment, it's all a reflection of the unresolved issues within your family. But it's also a lesson. It's your opportunity to heal. By learning to respond with love instead of hate, understanding instead of judgment, and compassion instead of anger, you break the cycle. Your family's toxicity isn't your burden to carry. It's your invitation to heal. It's your invitation to step into your power and awaken to the truth of who you really are. They are not your enemies, they are the catalyst for your growth. You can't save them, only yourself. One of the toughest realizations in this journey is that you cannot save your family. This is something that many of us, especially those of us born into toxic family dynamics, struggle with. We often think that if we just try hard enough, if we love them enough, or if we work hard enough to change ourselves, we'll somehow fix everything around us. I'll be the first to admit that I've been there. I thought for a long time that if I could just be good enough, strong enough, or successful enough, I could somehow change the toxicity in my family. But let me tell you, no amount of your effort can fix someone who isn't willing to heal themselves. Your job is not to save them. Your job is to save yourself. Your mission is not to change them, but to transform your own life. This is where the true power lies, not in changing others, but in changing yourself. Because here's the secret: when you change, when you heal, when you rise above the pain, the entire family dynamic begins to shift, not because you forced it, but because you changed. Think of it like a lighthouse in a storm. A lighthouse doesn't go running into the waves to pull ships from the water. It stands firm, shining its light, guiding those who need it. It's the same with you. You don't need to fix your family. You need to shine your light so brightly that even if they don't fully understand or appreciate it, they see the possibility of transformation. You are not the savior of your family, but you are the example. And that's incredibly powerful. Your healing is not just about you. When you heal, you send ripples of energy through the entire family line. Whether they acknowledge it or not, your transformation can be the spark that eventually inspires them to heal too. So stop fighting to change them. Instead, focus on healing yourself and watch as that light begins to illuminate everything around you, turning pain into purpose. Let's talk about the scars, the ones that have been left behind by years of emotional abuse, criticism, neglect, manipulation, or control. These wounds are real. They are painful, and they've shaped who you are. But here's the profound truth: these wounds, these scars, are also the gateways to your transformation. Every single one of those painful experiences carries a lesson. Every time you were belittled or dismissed, there was an opportunity for you to learn something about your worth, your strength, and your capacity for resilience. Every time you were ignored or made to feel invisible, there was an opportunity for you to discover your voice, your power, and your own inner truth. These wounds aren't just marks of your suffering, they are the catalysts for your awakening. The pain that you've endured has the potential to become your greatest strength. It can teach you compassion, empathy, and understanding. It can help you develop the kind of love that doesn't come from others, but from within. You can transform the darkness into light, the hurt into healing, and the pain into purpose. What if I told you that these wounds were never meant to break you, but to shape you? What if the things that you see as your weaknesses, the things that you think make you unworthy, are actually your greatest strengths? The rejection you've faced can teach you self-love. The neglect you've endured can teach you independence. The pain you've experienced can teach you compassion and empathy for others who are going through the same struggles. You are not defined by the scars you carry. They don't make you broken. They make you whole. They make you wise, capable, and strong. And once you realize this, once you embrace your pain and turn it into purpose, you step into your true power. The pain you once saw as something to fear becomes something to honor, something to be grateful for, because it was never meant to defeat you. It was always meant to empower you. Breaking free. The journey to breaking free from your family's toxic patterns begins with one key concept: awareness. It starts with acknowledging the patterns, the behaviors, and the beliefs that you've inherited. It's about identifying the toxic cycles that have been passed down through generations and recognizing where you've unconsciously adopted those same patterns. Let's be real here. Sometimes we don't even realize that we've internalized the toxicity around us. Maybe you grew up in a family where love was conditional, where affection was given only when you performed or achieved. Maybe your worth was tied to how much you could do for others. And now, as an adult, you find yourself constantly striving for validation, chasing external approval, and thinking that your value is defined by your success. Or perhaps you grew up in a family where your voice didn't matter. Maybe your emotions were dismissed, your opinions ignored, and your ideas were unheard. As a result, you might now find yourself suppressing your truth, doubting your own voice, and fearing rejection when you speak up. These patterns are like invisible chains, keeping you bound to your family's dysfunction Until you become aware of them, you'll continue to repeat the same cycles. But awareness is the first step to freedom. When you acknowledge the patterns, you begin to disempower them. You start to recognize that these patterns don't define you. They are simply learned behaviors that you have the power to change. But awareness alone isn't enough. The next step is healing, and this is where the real transformation begins. Healing isn't about fixing yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the wounds. It's about peeling back the layers of conditioning and reconnecting with your true essence. It's about shedding the stories your family wrote for you and embracing the truth of who you really are. Healing is messy. Healing is not neat. It's not linear. It doesn't happen in a straight line, and it certainly doesn't happen overnight. It's a messy, uncomfortable process. And let's be honest, it's hard work, but it's also one of the most beautiful and empowering things you can do for yourself. Healing requires three things: self-love, self-compassion, and self-discipline. Self-love is the foundation of healing. It's the practice of choosing yourself, even when no one else does. It's about honoring your needs, setting your boundaries, and recognizing that you are worthy of love and respect, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. Self-compassion is the gentle voice that says, it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Healing is a journey, not a destination, and you don't have to do it perfectly. Self-compassion allows you to show up for yourself, even on the days when you feel like giving up. And self-discipline is the commitment to show up every single day. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when the old patterns are pulling you back. Self-discipline means making choices that align with your highest self, no matter how hard it may seem. Healing isn't easy, but it is incredibly worth it. It's the key to unlocking your freedom. When you choose to heal, you're not just breaking free from the toxic patterns of your family, you're stepping into your true power. You're reclaiming your life, your happiness, and your peace, shining your light. Here's the beautiful truth about healing. It's not just about fixing yourself. It's about shining your light. When you heal, when you rise above the dysfunction and pain, you become a beacon of light for others. You show them what's possible. You show them that healing is possible. You show them that freedom is possible. The key to healing isn't in fixing your family. It's in learning to love yourself fully. It's about stepping into your own power and embracing the fullness of who you are, even in the face of their dysfunction. And when you do this, when you fully step into your truth, you inspire others to do the same, whether they acknowledge it or not. Your healing journey is the most powerful gift you can give your family. As you break free from the chains of toxicity, you create a ripple effect. Your transformation doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone in your life. Even if your family doesn't fully understand or appreciate it, your inner light will reach them in ways that words never could. Your healing will plant seeds of transformation within them. It might take years or even lifetimes, but your light will not go unnoticed. It will inspire them to look inward, to confront their own wounds, and to begin their own healing process. So stop thinking that you have to fix them. Stop trying to carry the weight of their dysfunction. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. As you do, you will see that the dynamics in your family begin to shift, not because you forced it, but because you've shown them what healing looks like. When you shine your light, you not only heal yourself, but you also help to heal the collective energy of your entire family, breaking generational cycles and creating a new, healthier path for future generations. Being a chosen one isn't glamorous. It's messy, challenging, and often lonely. But it's also purposeful, transformative, and liberating. Every time you choose to heal, every time you choose to love yourself, you're breaking the cycle. You're fulfilling your purpose. Remember this, you weren't born into a toxic family by accident. You were born into it because you're strong enough to transcend it, wise enough to learn from it, and brave enough to heal it. So, ask yourself, if you fully embraced your role as a chosen one, if you fully stepped into your power, what kind of life would you create?